Bloomberg New Economy catalyst list, and it's been released with the name of 28 people who are moving the world towards a more equitable and more sustainable future. We're very pleased to say that Wemimo Abbey is with us, one of those winners, shall we call them, co-founder, co-CEO of Esusu Financial, which helps renters improve their credit profiles by actually building into your credit rating and your credit score, you paying rent on time. It seems so simple, yet such a eureka moment for so many. And Wemimo, just talk to us about the growth that you're seeing in the business.
We've seen tremendous growth. Serendipitously, we were here over a year ago with Sonali, actually, and the Bloomberg team, announcing our partnership with Goldman Sachs. And we're just a $10 million business, and now we're valued at $1 billion. Incredibly excited about what we're seeing in the landscape.
How is the state of the rental market, though? Because a lot's been made of the big prices that are going up, and how does that benefit your business?
Well, when we look at the rental market, there are really three things we should pay attention to. Rising inflation rates, obviously absolutely unsustainable. When you think about housing supply, all-time low when it comes to housing the millennials we have in the marketplace today. So when you think about all those dynamics, it's incredibly hard. And one of the things we're seeing from an Esusu perspective is rent prices will continue to go up. It's absolutely unsustainable. Until we continue to get housing supply up, we might be out for a rental crisis if we don't get supplies up.
How are borrowers getting through this? If you look at the pressure on people's credit scores when it comes to inflation, spending more everywhere, not just rent, how are they able to access the credit they need to get a home or to rent today?
Yeah, we're in a tipping point. If you look at debts in the United States, it's $63 trillion, right? Consumer debt is getting close to $20 trillion, corporate debt $10 trillion, and then national debts at north of $30 trillion. With the rising costs, and you have inflation at 9.1%, it's absolutely unsustainable for everyday consumers to essentially buy goods and services that otherwise would cost less than what they'll get in the marketplace. Cost of milk on an average now is up 15% year over year. Cost of other consumer staples on an average 27% year over year. So what we are seeing, from an inflation standpoint, is affecting everyday people. When you isolate credit scores, your buying power, when you're doing credit risk modeling as a business, you need to increase it so you essentially eliminate your downside risk. So it's going to be a very, very complex market we have to deal with in the coming months.
Remind us how big Esusu is from an American standpoint, whether you're looking globally as well, and how some of the dynamics are different. Is it a purely US situation? I doubt that it is, that we've got a complete imbalance in the housing and rental market. Right.
To tell you about Esusu in terms of what we're going to do global, at Esusu we always say we're acting local but thinking global. If I go down memory lane, for me, I grew up in the slums of Lagos, Nigeria. I was raised by my mother, lost my father at the age of 2. And I came to this magical place called America from 80-degree weather in Lagos to negative 22 degrees in Minnesota. And when we came to the United States, my mother and I did not have a credit score. We walked into one of the biggest banks to borrow money, and we're turned away and had to go borrow money at over 400% interest rate from a predatory lender. In addition to that, my mother sold my father's wedding ring and a bunch of other jewelry, and that's how we got started in the United States. So really inspired by that experience, we started a business. No matter where you come from, the color of your skin and your financial identity should never determine where you end up in the wealthiest nation the world has ever seen. So for us, we're just getting started. Global is the way to go.
Talk to us about the path to get there. Some of the partnerships, Freddie Mac, you mentioned, of course, with Goldman Sachs a year ago. How are those going? What does that help us on their way to solving this problem?
They're going very well. Goldman Sachs will continue to expand, help people establish and build their credit scores, quintessential at this point. And we had a big announcement with Freddie Mac last year. It's part of their initiative to essentially advance tenant initiatives across the United States. So what we are doing is essentially helping them improve their credit scores. Freddie Mac is offering incentives to their borrowers so we can help establish credit scores. And those residents can essentially buy quality financial products and not be, have a story like my mother and I when we came to the United States.